Here's a current list of all marijuana-related bills being considered in the United States Congress. Although marijuana is legal for medical use in 38 states and for recreational use in 24, it remains illegal on the federal level. Several federal bills aim to change that, but only a few have a real chance of passing soon. Bills introduced before January 2023 are inactive. Bills introduced after January 2023 remain active until January 2025 unless enacted. Lawmakers may reintroduce inactive bills in future sessions. Currently, there are over active marijuana-related bills. Below is an overview of these measures. Safer Banking Act, sponsors 166, filed April House and September Senate 2023. The acts allow banks to provide financial services to state-licensed marijuana businesses and let them take standard IRS tax deductions. In the House, the Safe Banking Act has 129 sponsors. In the Senate, the Safer Banking Act has 37 sponsors, and was approved by the Senate committee with bipartisan support. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has vowed to put the act to a vote but has not yet set a date. MORE Act, sponsors 95, filed September 2023. The Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement, MORE Act, would deschedule marijuana, removing it from the Federal Controlled Substances Act. A 5% federal excise tax would be placed on all sales for the first 2 years, increasing to 8% by the 5th year. The act also includes provisions to protect marijuana consumers, preventing denial of public benefits and allowing expungement of convictions. Veterans Equal Access Act, sponsors 29, filed April 2023. This act requires the VA to authorize providers to discuss and recommend medical marijuana if the patient is in a legal state and it could be beneficial. Currently, Virginia physicians are prohibited from discussing marijuana with their patients, and veterans cannot receive the forms required to participate in medical marijuana programs. The act would change this by providing federal protection to VA doctors who discuss and recommend medical cannabis. The Veterans Equal Access Act has the most support. Veterans Medical Marijuana Safe Harbor Act, sponsors 27, filed April 2023. The act allows veterans to use, possess, or transport medical marijuana and discuss its use with a VA physician as authorized by a state or tribe. KOA, sponsors 18, filed May 2024. The Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act, or KOA, would deschedule marijuana, expunge past convictions, and establish a federal marijuana excise tax. It sets federal standards for marijuana sales similar to alcohol. This includes creating a center for cannabis products within the FDA, regulating production, labeling, distribution, and sales. It has the support of top Senate Democrats including Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. CURE Act, sponsors 11, filed September 2023. The CURE Act prohibits federal agencies from considering marijuana use for federal employment or security clearance. It also establishes a review process for past applications. The States 2.0 Act, sponsors 10, filed December 2023, filed by State Representative Dave Joyce and a bipartisan group. It amends the Federal Controlled Substances Act to align with state drug laws, allows marijuana commerce between legal states and tribes, and amends IRS Regulation Section 280E for tax deductions. Directs a study on marijuana legalization's impact on traffic safety, similar to the States Reform Act but with twice as many sponsors. The Respect Resolution, sponsors 8, filed January 2024, urges action to increase equity within cannabis policy and the legal cannabis marketplace, filed in January with 7 co-sponsors, all Democrat. Congressmember Lee said the proposal aims to elevate equity, address disparities, and repair effects of the war on drugs on communities of color. RESPECT stands for Realizing Equitable and Sustainable Participation in Emerging Cannabis Trades. The Veterans Cannabis Use for Safe Healing Act, sponsors 7, filed January 2023, filed by Congressmember Gregory Stube, prohibits the VA from denying benefits due to state-approved marijuana use. VA must discuss marijuana use with veterans and adjust treatment plans. Authorizes VA providers to recommend marijuana in approved states. CLAIM Act, sponsors 7, filed April 2023. Filed by Senator Bob Menendez and Congressmember Nydia Velázquez, the CLAIM Act creates a safe harbor for insurers in cannabis-related businesses. No new co-sponsors since April. Second Amendment Protection Act, sponsors 6, filed January 2023. Federal law prohibits unlawful users of controlled substances from possessing firearms. This bill exempts medical marijuana users in accordance with state law. States Reform Act, Sponsors 5, filed, October 2023, House Bill 6028 by Representative Nancy Mace, co-sponsored by Representatives Tom McClintock, Matt Gaetz, David Trone, and Dean Phillips. The measure federally decriminalizes cannabis and defers to state powers over regulation. HOPE Act, Sponsors 5, filed, April 2023. This bipartisan bill authorizes the Department of Justice to make grants to states and local governments to reduce the burden of expunging state cannabis convictions. It also requires the Department of Justice to study and report on the effects of a criminal record for cannabis offenses. Marijuana in Federally Assisted Housing Parity Act, Sponsors 5, filed, January 2024, introduced by Congressmember Eleanor Holmes Norton, with a companion bill by Senator Cory Booker. 3 other lawmakers have signed on as co-sponsors. The law allows marijuana use in federally assisted housing, including public and Section 8 housing, if in compliance with state marijuana laws. Stop Pot Act, Sponsors 5, filed, September 2023, filed by North Carolina Congressmember Chuck Edwards, withholds 10% of federal highway funds from states legalizing marijuana, no new sponsors since October, nor any consideration in its committee. Most prominent anti-marijuana legislation in the U.S. House. The Cannabis Research Act, Sponsors 4, filed, June 2024. The bipartisan act amends the Public Health Service Act, designating universities as centers of excellence in cannabis research. Higher Education Marijuana Research Act, filed, June 2023. The act streamlines research for higher education institutions, boosting marijuana studies, filed by Congressmember Dina Titus, with co-sponsors Joe Neguse and Earl Blumenauer. The Graham Act, Sponsors 3, filed, April 2023, filed by Congressmember Brian Mast from Florida. In May and July, it gained 2 more sponsors but hasn't gained much traction. The law protects Second Amendment rights for adults using marijuana legally. It allows those following state marijuana laws to possess firearms. Randy's Resolution, Sponsors 2, filed February 2024, Congressmembers Pete Sessions from Texas and Senator Pete Ricketts from Nebraska filed bicameral resolutions urging research on the dangers of high-THC marijuana. The resolution states that federal agencies, including the DEA and NIH, should research the health effects of high-potency marijuana on vulnerable populations. It urges collaboration with public health organizations, medical professionals, and community stakeholders to develop evidence-based policies. Marijuana Misdemeanor Expungement Act, Sponsors 2, filed, July 2024. The act would create an expungement mechanism for low-level federal marijuana violations and provide an expedited process to clear non-felony marijuana offenses in the federal system. HOPE Act, Sponsors 2, filed, February 2023 in the House and April 2024 in the Senate, introduced in April 2023 with bipartisan backing. This year, a Senate companion bill was introduced by Senator Jackie Rosen from Nevada. The legislation authorizes the DOJ to provide grants to states and local governments for expunging state cannabis offense convictions. It also mandates the DOJ to study the impact of cannabis-related criminal records and incarceration costs. Senate Leader Chuck Schumer aims to incorporate the HOPE Act's provisions into the Safer Banking Act. Doobie Act, filed, July 2023. The Doobie Act limits marijuana use consideration in employment and security clearance. Over 20 marijuana bills are active in U.S. Congress.